What's up, people? I'm watching the most dangerous, top 10 most dangerous weapons in the world. Now let's see.
Because they weren't. Some weapons are good for stabbing, other weapons are good for taking people out from a distance, while some types of weapons are good for blowing up vast areas all at once. Today we're going to be looking at the most deadly melee weapons in the world. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another video that's similar to this. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below letting us know which weapon on this list was your favorite and why. I would have to say that number 1 was my favorite. Also, for this video, let's see if we can get the golden like button, which is 1,000 likes, so make sure to help us out and like the video. With all that being said, let's jump into it. Number 10. The 7-branch sword was made in the Baekje dynasty, which was an ancient kingdom in the southwest Korea during the 4th century. At the time, the Baekje controlled areas of China and the majority of Western Korea. In the year 372, the king of Baekje was given the 7-branch sword as a sign of praise. The blade is around 75 centimeters long with 6 branches that are spiked out from the central blade, and would do some very serious damage if used. Number 9. Used by the Islamic leader Ali between 656 and 661, the Zulfikar scimitar was gifted by the Prophet Muhammad. The story goes that Muhammad greatly admired Ali's power and strength off the field of battle and wanted to give it to him. The sword is now a symbol of the Islamic faith and is adored by millions. But back then, it was used as a deadly weapon. There are conflicting images of the scimitar. Some think and believe that it has 2 parallel blades, while others think that it is more traditionally shaped, while others have a portray of it being a V-shaped blade. There's just so many things that people aren't sure about this weapon. Either way, it's an incredibly deadly sword with a really cool backstory. Number 8. Masamune was a Japanese swordsmith that has been referred as one of the world's greatest all-time sword makers. The swords of Masamune have a strong reputation for beauty and quality, and none so more as the Hanjo Masamune. This sword is the most famous of all Masamune's swords. It has been passed down from shogun to shogun through the years until it was eventually given to Sergeant Kobe Bimmore of the U.S. 7th Cavalry in 1946. Unfortunately, since that time, the sword was never seen again, making it the most important historical artifact to disappear in World War II. Number 7. In Roman times, the sport of boxing was something that was done to the death, because many Roman boxers got their hands on a special glove named cestus. Cestus gloves were brutal bits of equipment that were worn across the hand, much like boxing gloves of the modern day, but unlike boxing gloves of now, because the cestus contained iron plates and they were often fitted with blades or spikes. If the boxer who went up against the cestus user didn't end up dead, you can bet that they ended up horribly disfigured. Number 6. The antler brass knuckles from China were some of the most deadly brass knuckles to exist at the time. The knives attached to the knuckles were 2 crescent horn antlers used for piercing straight into the necks or bodies of an opponent. The weapons are not only deadly to those that are the target, but it's for the user as well. You have to be extremely careful using the antler brass knuckles, because you could easily pierce your own skin instead of your enemies. Number 5. The swordbreaker was an unusual weapon used in the Middle Ages, and was most frequently used as a standard sidearm for most knights. The swordbreaker dagger was a sturdy, solid dagger that had grooves cut along one of the sides of the blade. The point of the dagger was to catch the blade of an enemy's sword while it was coming down for an attack. With a quick twist of the wrist, it would be able to break the sword in half. After that, the very small blade could be used for a counterattack, killing the opponent in a single blow while they were recovering from being disarmed. Number 4. The lantern shield has been described as the Swiss Army knife of weapons, and I can totally see why. Much like a Swiss Army knife can do a whole bunch of different things, the lantern shield has a crapload of different utilities as well. The shield itself was around a foot in diameter, but it also has a variety of different attachments. There were lantern shields that had long blade attachments, spikes, and even the sword breakers from earlier on this list. The strangest addition, though, was the lantern, which is what gave the sword its name. Because of the lantern attachment, many think it was used by people who were trying to ward off bandits and robbers on dark nights. Number 3. The chakram was often mistaken as a glaive, which is a form of a pike weapon. Instead, the chakram is similar to a shuriken throwing star. The weapon was created in India and is basically a disc with a sharp metal blade on the one side. Chakrams could be thrown like a frisbee or used as a form of a bladed weapon in close range where the user would slash at an opponent. If they were made well enough and used by a good soldier, the chakram could be tossed up at somewhere around 100 meters away and still land a killing blow. Number 2. The Dark Ops Interceptor is one of the scariest modern blades I've ever seen. It stretches out to 14 inches in length and is made with stainless steel. The blade is honestly insane. The combinations are crazy. It has a spear point, a tanto, a choil notch, splitter head, a backsaw. It has extended serrations and even more. It's so insane. This blade is ready to go into combat and perform at whatever you need it for. And it scares the heck out of me.
Kill anybody you need to
Number 1. The Microtech Jagged Commando has a weird name and an even weirder blade. The blade has 3 super sharp edges that twist upwards in a single deadly sharp point. Not only will this blade kill you, it will kill you painfully and slowly, because that is what it was criticized by quite a few people. Apparently the blade itself is actually inhumane because of the amount of pain it would cause. Because of that, it's at the top of our list for deadly melee weapons. Honestly, this knife is just so insane. Design and everything about it makes it look so good. Plus the sharp edge.
I'm not gonna watch the mermaid community. Those actual mermaids? Nope. I see calves and feet. Fucking low, damn it!
Wow, your new place is amazing.
Couldn't have done it without Credit Sesame. It checked my credit score for free, and they gave
You
me the
wanna be
tools to
Credit
save money.
Karma
in
ass
great luck.
nigga.
I'm a mermaid. I'm literally a real life mermaid.
You may think
Subscribe
that
to
mermaids
them.
are only seen in fairy tales or Disney films,
You'll
but there
find
is a
some
secret
crazy
community
stuff.
of merfolk growing.
At first, it looked like I thought I was seeing things. You know, I was like, what was that? You know, is that a dolphin that got into the lake? Because every once in a while we get seals and whatnot that'll come into the lake, and here comes this giant tail, and then up pops Ed, and I was like, it shocked me. It was crazy.
It's a bit of a lifestyle for me because I live on a boat. I always like to be around the water. I work on a boat. My mer name is Madeline. I think it can be like a hobby and a passion and a way of life for a lot of people. Like, it's all 3 wrapped into one. People are into it for conservation reasons because they want to try and promote conservation of ocean life.
Ed, Tessie, and Caitlin are all part of an emerging community of merfolk in Seattle.
My mermaid name is Cyania.
When this is
A little
over,
while
I'm gonna
back, I
end the
did
video.
quit my day job so that I could focus
Tell your
full-time
friends,
on
family,
being a mermaid. So
subscribe to me.
now, I currently work out of my home in this little studio that I've set up in our spare room. And I make prosthetic quality silicone tails out of dragon skin platinum silicone. I also make accessories, and I make little sea creatures as well. This is my sea serpent tail. The inspiration for this was part biology and part fantasy, obviously. It took me an entire year to make. When I was in kindergarten and the teacher asked everyone to go around and say what they wanted to be when they grew up, I said a mermaid. Everyone laughed at me, and now here I am. I'm a mermaid.
As a mer person, I'm not that different from the way I am on land, but I feel like it's a lot easier to talk to people. If I'm in street clothes and I'm out on the town, I really don't like it when people talk to me. I get really nervous. But when I'm in my tail, and it's a lot easier to talk to people.
I can totally see myself being a mermaid forever. My mermaid name is Mermaid Essie. I have a lot of body insecurities. I think a lot of people do. But when I'm in my tail, I don't feel insecure anymore. Because suddenly it doesn't matter what size I am, because I'm a mermaid. And that's what people really focus on. When I take my tail off, it almost feels like a piece of me has come off. Is your tail rack still broken?
Yeah, the zipper. I've always been a little bit of kind of an outsider, a loner, and a little bit eccentric. So discovering that there was a mermaid community and that I could actually wear a mermaid tail and outwardly express what I always felt that I was inside, it was really freeing. And so I do feel like I'm showing my true self to the world.
I think a lot of people do get into it because putting on a tail is probably one of the greatest feelings in the world.
It really is.
And having a beautiful fishtail is absolutely imperative to being a dedicated merperson.
I do feel like my tail is a part of me, and I do actually feel like it is a prosthetic limb. I sometimes joke that I wear a prosthetic because I was born with a terrible birth defect, which is legs.
I like it because I personally think it's fun. Like, I can never have a bad day swimming, no matter what happens. When I'm in the water with my tail on, it's like magic. I just automatically feel less like an awkward person swimming and more like a creature that belongs in the water.
When I put it on, it's like nothing else matters, and I'm a mermaid and I can do whatever it is that I feel like doing.
But being a mermaid is not something that's easy for everyone to understand.
When I told my mother I wanted to be a mermaid, she just kept laughing at me.
I thought it was a stupid idea at first. I thought it was gonna just be a waste of money and a waste of time. I thought her time can best be used studying her lessons as a graduate student rather than swimming with a tail in the ocean or swimming pool someplace. And I said, forget it. That's a lot of money invested in tails. And she said, I'll save every money that I have and I'm gonna get my first tail.
My mother has been incredible despite the fact that she thinks that this is an absolute ludicrous thing to do.
The best part of being a merperson is, I think, the chance to sort of live out a dream or a fantasy to be something other than who you are for a little while.
I've always felt really at one with the water and the ocean.
I love how children's eyes light up. I love the way that when they look at you as a mermaid, suddenly everything is possible again and that magic is real. There's no rules involved. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, and no one can tell you that it's wrong.
I'm gonna watch this. Never mind, I'm not gonna watch it, so see ya. See you later, guys. Peace.